Hi, gang. The results of the first discussion board are in, and I'm thinking that a lot of you aren't real pleased with what was scored as far as the discussion posts are concerned. Let me make sure that you understand. This was just a couple of points, okay? You may have lost just a few points. There are a lot more points that can be earned over the semester, okay? So, we're going to address two things in this video. First of all, the use of AI. Second of all, the use of the discussion posts and what it is that you're supposed to do, what the expectations are. Now, when it comes to AI, AI is akin to cheating. And if you look at the syllabus, it talks about that you cannot do AI. With the discussion posts, I think a lot of folks don't really realize what the purpose of discussion posts are. In my opinion, discussion boards are another opportunity for you to learn more than what you could have gotten before. Okay. It's like more of the class participation, and it's digging to find more information that is beyond just the textbook. I think that there's a couple of things. First of all, I don't think that everybody really reads and understands the syllabus or watches the videos and listens to my uh, my explanation as far as what discussions are about. Second of all, I think people are used to what other instructors might do. It seems to me as if other instructors just kind of put something out there and it's almost like a make work type of thing. Okay. In other words, you just put some kind of crap out there and fine, you've posted to the discussion board. To be honest with you, I really don't care what other instructors do. This is something that adds more depth to the class. It gives you more understanding of the information, the way I want to approach the discussions. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to share um, screens so that you can see what we're talking about. Now, first of all, when it comes to dealing with AI, having ChatGPT or Gemini or some of these other um, creation tools is cheating, where you just put in the question that I'm asking in the discussion board, and you just copy whatever came out of that. That is cheating. Now, as it says here in the syllabus, AI is prohibited. Now, as far as I'm concerned, you get one warning. The first time you do it, you get a zero for that assignment. All right. And a warning that if it happens again, if I find it again, it's enough for the course. The reason for that is because I'm trying to help you learn more than what you could have had before. And I'm also trying to help you with writing. So for me to help you do those things, you can't utilize a chat GPT to actually answer the questions and things. So AI is prohibited. Now, when it comes to discussions, you'll see here where it says that initial posts should be complete, include outside sources that support your assertions. Okay, in other words, prove what it is that you're saying as far as what you're posting in your initial post, and make for substantial responses to others. And then you have the minimum, which is substantial responses to a minimum of three others posts, where you are expanding on what they're saying. You're bringing in new information, new sources, and you're helping not only yourself to learn, also others. You're furthering the learning in the entire class. You see, the thing I require is too many times people have a tendency to try to do the minimum. Okay. Now, let me tell you something. If you want to do the minimum, that's fine. Okay. If you're happy with like 5 or 6 points or 7 points out of 10, I don't have a problem with that. That's up to you. You have the opportunity also, if you go well above and beyond, to earn extra credit on these things. All right. So remember, meeting only the minimums is average, and that results in a C grade. C grades are average. All right. And all you do is meet the minimum. It's a C, like maybe 6 or 7 points out of 10. That's it. And if you're happy with that, fine, go for it. The thing is, if you really want to grow, if you really want to learn more, I suggest that you go further than just the minimum. So you have the minimum that's on there. Now let me show you what we mean by that will help you with understanding what needs to happen. Don't think a lot of people really watched or looked at the rubric that goes along with discussion boards. I just picked one out of random. If you go to the little dots, okay, here in the upper right-hand corner, and show rubric, what you'll do is see the rubric that goes along with the discussions and how they're going to be judged. So you have timeliness, writing, relevance, quality of responses, and contribution to the learning process. And you can see how you actually earn the points for each of those things. So for example, in timeliness, on time, always before the end of the day, routinely exceeds posting requirements. All the way down to 0, out of 2 points, post late or fails post minimum. Have writing. You have to write well. Okay. You have the relevance of the initial posting. Quite pertinent. Encourage expanded exploration. References required readings and possibly other sources of material. All the way down to doesn't really adequately address things. You have quality of responses. So in other words, states the position, provides support for the position. In other words, other sources and things. All the way down to very brief, just merely agree or disagree. Down to contributing to the learning process. Checks in on the discussion on the regular basis, exhibits intellectual curiosity, all the way down to makes no effort to participate. So if you look at the rubric, that will tell you what it is that you need to do to score well as far as the discussions are concerned. Now, excuse me, if you look at, this is an example from a previous class, okay? And this is somebody who did a really lousy job as far as their discussion posts are concerned. Here's that person's initial post. You can see it's just a few sentences. And then the responses, minimum of 3 responses. Okay, I agree with you. I love that you did this. I agree with what you did. I like your post. These things do nothing as far as advancing the conversation. And let me tell you something else, folks. No one cares if you like or don't like somebody's post. That's all there is to it. So you need to go beyond just these simple things here. Now, here's an example of someone who did a good job. Now, this is their initial post, and you can see that this one was okay. I wish that they had provided other new information and sources to go along with it. The thing is, if you look at their responses, here's the response, and it had more information and a couple of sources that go along with it. Another response that had some new information and some sources. Another one. And then there were actually a couple more down below it. This person actually earned extra credit because they had gone above and beyond some of the things. They had a bunch of responses out there, and all of the responses, or most of the responses, had some sort of had resources and new information that took that conversation further than what was going before. This is what I mean by substantial. All right. Now, it's a balance between quantity and quality. I mean, I've had some people who had a bunch of responses like this, but they put in like 13 of them. And they thought, man, I'm going above and beyond. No, no, because responses like, I like your post, do nothing. All right. So it's not just quantity, it's also the quality. And if you want to look at quality, look at what it is that I've been posting. Look at my rants. I've posted several rants that give you examples as far as what the initial post should be. Look at my responses to others' posts, because those responses there give you more information as far as, and maybe some different information as far as what the person was talking about, as far as what the topic is really all about. And so go back and look at my stuff. Now, the other thing that I do is I'll challenge you. In other words, okay, so where did you get this information? All right. Expand on some of that stuff. I am hoping that when I put a challenge out there like that, you follow up on it and you answer it. That means that you need to be reading each and every post and all of the responses. Now, there are a lot of people who try to do just the minimum amount. Okay, I'll just read a few of them and that sort of thing. No, you're supposed to read all the posts and all the responses. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to respond to everyone. That's not what I'm saying. You do need to make sure that you read those things because you just might get an idea that you hadn't had before because of something that somebody was posting. So these are some things to think about as far as the discussion posts are concerned. Again, I would love to see much more effort put into the discussion where you're bringing in new information. You have new articles that people can access and read for themselves. That is what I hope. Or you can just do the minimum. That's fine if that's what you prefer. Just understand that that is going to impact your overall grade. Please contact me if you have problems or if you're running into some issues. And again, remember, this was just a few points out of the total. I mean, we're looking at a bunch of points for the semester in this class. You're looking at a total of 810 points. And if you lost two, big deal. All right. So really think about what it is that you're doing as far as the discussion posts, as far as the timing of what you're doing in the discussion, the depth and the quality. And again, if you have questions, please give me a shout.